Picture this, a world where the end is already determined, where gods coexist with giants, and where the cosmos are held within the branches of a colossal tree. Welcome to the realm of Norse mythology. This is not just a world born from the wild imaginations of ancient Vikings. Norse mythology, a tapestry of surreal tales and larger-than-life characters, was once the lifeblood of Viking culture, providing both explanations for the natural world and moral guidelines for living. At its heart, Norse mythology is a collection of stories told by the northern Germanic people during their Viking age, between the late 8th and early 11th century. These stories, passed down through generations, were their way of making sense of the world, their existence, and the forces they witnessed around them. One of the defining features of Norse mythology is the concept of Ragnarok, a series of cataclysmic events leading to the end of the world. It's a worldview quite unlike others, where the end is not a threat or a punishment, but an inevitable conclusion. The gods know their fate, and yet they do not shy away from it, showing us a poignant picture of courage in the face of certain demise. But Norse mythology is not just a relic of the past. Its influence permeates modern pop culture, capturing imaginations with its intricate tales and complex characters. From the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Thor and Loki to best-selling novels and video games, the echoes of these ancient tales continue to resonate, drawing us into their timeless narratives. And it's not just about entertainment. These stories, rich in symbolism and metaphors, challenge us to reflect on our own lives, our choices, and our destiny. They ask us to consider what it means to be human, to be mortal, and to live with purpose, knowing that the end, however inevitable, is not what defines us. So buckle up, as we delve deep into a world where the lore of the ancients meets the realities of today. Our first tale involves a monstrous wolf, a prophecy, and a trickster god. Sounds intriguing, right? This is the story of Fenrir, a giant wolf born of the trickster god Loki and the giantess Angrboda. From the moment of his birth, the gods feared Fenrir, for a prophecy foresaw that he would bring about Ragnarok, the end of the world. The gods' fear drove them to try and bind Fenrir not by force but by trickery. Odin, the Allfather, commissioned the dwarves to create a chain that looked as light as a silken ribbon, but was stronger than any earthly bond. This chain, named Gleipnir, was presented to Fenrir as a challenge, a test of his strength. However, Fenrir was no fool. He suspected trickery and agreed to be bound only if one of the gods placed their hand in his mouth as a pledge of good faith. The brave god Tyr stepped forward, placing his hand in the wolf's gaping maw. As the gods bound Fenrir with Gleipnir, the wolf realized he had been tricked and in his rage bit off Tyr's hand. Thus, the gods successfully bound Fenrir, but at a great cost. This tale of Fenrir's binding resonates with us even today. It speaks of fear, manipulation, and the inevitability of fate. The gods feared what they did not understand and sought to control it. Their actions, driven by fear, led to deceit, betrayal, and loss. In our lives, we often fear the unknown, the unpredictable. We try to control or avoid it, sometimes resorting to deception or manipulation. But just as the gods' efforts did not prevent Ragnarok, our attempts to avoid or control the inevitable often lead to more trouble. The tale of Fenrir serves as a poignant reminder that fear should not dictate our actions, and that sometimes acceptance is the only way forward. Just as Fenrir's binding didn't prevent Ragnarok, sometimes in our lives trying to prevent the inevitable can lead to more trouble. Imagine waking up one day and finding your most prized possession gone. This is exactly what happened to Thor, the god of thunder. Now, Thor wasn't just any deity. He was the Norse god of thunder, known for his strength, courage, and his iconic hammer, Mjolnir. One morning, Thor woke to find Mjolnir missing. The hammer, which could level mountains and was considered the most powerful weapon in all of Norse mythology, was nowhere to be found. The culprit? The giant Thrym, who had a penchant for mischief and a desire for power. Thrym, knowing the worth of Mjolnir, hid it and demanded a ransom for its return, the hand of the goddess Freya in marriage. Quite the steep price, right? But this is where the tale takes an amusing twist. The gods, desperate to retrieve Mjolnir, came up with a plan. Thor, in a hilarious turn of events, was to disguise himself as Freya and go to Thrym under the pretense of accepting his proposal. Now, imagine Thor, the burly god of thunder, squeezed into a wedding dress, trying to keep up the charade. Accompanied by Loki, disguised as a bridesmaid, they managed to fool Thrym long enough to get Mjolnir back. Once Thor had his hammer, he quickly dispatched Thrym and his entire wedding party. Isn't it funny how far we'd go to retrieve something we hold dear? Just like Thor, we've all had our moments where we've lost something important and gone through ridiculous lengths to get it back. Whether it's searching high and low for a missing phone, retracing our steps to find lost keys, or even rummaging through the trash for that important document we accidentally threw away. The story of Thor and Mjolnir shows us that even gods can have frantic moments of loss and go to great lengths to retrieve what they've misplaced. And just like us, they too experience that sigh of relief upon finding what they thought was lost forever. So, the next time you lose something, remember Thor's tale, and maybe, just maybe, your search won't seem as frustrating. Just like Thor, we all have had that frantic moment of loss and the sigh of relief upon finding what we thought was lost forever. Our final tale is about an unusual birth, a master builder and a horse named Svadilfari. Ready for a wild ride? In the realm of the Norse gods, there was no one quite as cunning or as crafty as Loki, the trickster god. This tale begins with the gods in a bit of a bind. A master builder had promised to construct a wall around Asgard, the home of the gods, in exchange for the sun, the moon, and the beautiful goddess Freya. The gods agreed, but with one condition. The builder had to complete the wall in a single winter, using only the help of his horse, Svadilfari. The builder, confident in his abilities, agreed. However, as the end of winter approached, the wall was almost complete. The gods, fearing they would lose the sun, the moon, and Freya, turned to Loki for help. Never one to shy away from a challenge, Loki transformed himself into a mare and lured away Svadilfari, the builder's horse. Without his horse, the builder could not complete the wall, and the gods were off the hook. But Loki's antics had an unexpected consequence. As a mare, he gave birth to Sleipnir, an 8-legged horse, swifter than any other in all the 9 realms. Sleipnir became the mount of Odin, the All-Father, carrying him across sky and sea. It's a peculiar tale, isn't it? But at its heart, it's a story about resourcefulness in the face of adversity. Loki, for all his mischief, knew how to turn an impossible situation into an advantageous one. In our own lives, we often face challenges that seem insurmountable. But just like Loki, we can use our resourcefulness and creativity to find solutions. It may not involve shape-shifting or giving birth to an 8-legged horse, but it's about finding a way to turn the tables and come out on top. Just like Loki, sometimes we have to think outside the box and use our resourcefulness to overcome difficult situations. Who would have thought that ancient tales could reflect so much of our modern life? These Norse tales, woven with the threads of fear, loss, and resourcefulness, are not merely relics of a bygone era. They are timeless narratives that echo the human condition, even in the bustle of our digital age. Consider the binding of Fenrir. The story speaks of fear, a fear so potent that it led the gods to bind the wolf, Fenrir, despite knowing the dreadful prophecy. Does this not remind us of the fears we face today? Fears of the unknown, of change, of losing control? Like the gods, we too often choose to bind and restrict rather than face our fears head-on. Then we have the theft of Mjolnir, a tale of loss and recovery. Thor woke up to find his precious hammer missing, a symbol of his power and identity. Isn't this akin to the losses we experience in our lives? Be it the loss of a job, a relationship, or a cherished dream, we all know the sting of losing something dear to us. And just like Thor, we too strive to regain what was lost, often discovering new aspects of ourselves in the process. Lastly, the birth of Sleipnir serves as an example of resourcefulness and cunning. Loki, in his wisdom, found an unconventional solution to an impossible problem. This tale mirrors our own struggles in life, where we are often tasked with finding creative solutions to our problems. These tales, these timeless narratives of fear, loss, and resourcefulness, resonate with us because they reflect the unchanging human experience. We may not face giant wolves or misplaced divine hammers, but we grapple with our own fears, confront our losses, and tap into our resourcefulness every day. So I encourage you to delve deeper into Norse mythology, to explore these tales and discover more such parallels. For in the end, Norse mythology, like all great stories, is a mirror to our own lives, reflecting our fears, our triumphs, and our humanity.